book banning has become a widespread issue, and it is increasing. And this is particularly the case for young adult fiction. And unfortunately, The Hunger Games falls into that category, with the book being banned in some circles for its content. Given that this content isn't the most objectionable material in the world, so let's talk about why The Hunger Games is a banned book. So The Hunger Games is a popular dystopian novel with fans of all ages, and it paints an important picture for its readers, even with its banned book status. The notoriety increased with the release of the Hunger Games movies, though it also illustrated that some of the things that got the books banned may not have been accurate. So according to the American Library Association, The Hunger Games has been banned or challenged due to insensitivity, offensive language, violence, anti-family, anti-ethic, and occult or satanic. And the 2014 edition of Inserted Religious Views. It's a really weird set of criticisms, especially for The Hunger Games. This is especially true considering the Hunger Games movies are a PG-13, or I think there are 12 in the UK. It makes you wonder why the books were actually banned in the first place. One of the reasons was due to its violent content. And of course there are examples of violence and there are death scenes in The Hunger Games. But it's not done in an especially gruesome way, it's not overly detailed. I'm not sure where the violent side has come from, unless, in my opinion, it is the suggestion of violence. But this is a theme throughout all of the movies, and they're all PG-13. They were all 12s, they weren't 18s, they weren't rated R. So again, can you really use violence as a reason for why the books were banned? I mean, the most notable death in the movies for me was in the first one with the death of Rue. Now again, okay, it was the death of a child, that can be triggering for people, it can be traumatic to watch. But again, it was done in a way that it wasn't especially violent, it was sad. And Katniss's reaction and the way that she looked after Rue afterwards, and that stemmed a lot of the things that came afterwards. The fact that Rue was a child who was sent to die for the entertainment of the capital elite, that is barbaric, more so than how she died, in my opinion. And as I mentioned, death is treated as painful for people who watch their loved ones die. So the idea of death being sanitised or handled in a way to desensitise readers is really hard for me to believe. It's really hard to follow that narrative. And the death of Rue and the other characters that died were actually probably not even the most questionable part of the series. So I'm struggling to find evidence that violence is the reason the books got banned, or at least violence as its own standalone reason. There was another accusation that anti-family values is what caused The Hunger Games to get banned. And again, this one is quite hard to believe because, for starters, there are really strong family values ingrained throughout the series, especially when it comes to Katniss. I mean, for God's sake, she volunteered for her sister. If that doesn't scream family values at you and family love, like, I don't get it. You know, she was telling her mum she has to look after her sister, she's not there to do it anymore. Katniss goes out and hunts, although it could potentially be super dangerous if she got caught, to try and make ends meet for her family. She saved her sister's cat so that her sister could have something familiar. All family values. When it comes to Katniss, you cannot say there's a lack of family values. You can't substantiate these claims. And with the backstory for Haymitch, the fact that his family were killed after he won the Hunger Games, again, you can't really say that that's anti-family. They took something away from him that meant so much. And you can almost draw parallels as well when Prim dies. The rift that it causes between Gale and Katniss. You can't argue that's anti-family. If you can, let me know. I'm all ears. Moving on to the ethics argument. Now this is a little less black and white because the series has many actions that are completely unethical. Every action that the Capitol take is morally and ethically wrong. You cannot argue with that. For people who have read the books and who have watched the movies, I don't think that we can deem the story on either platform as particularly satanic or of occult-like behaviour, let alone to an extent, if there was any, as to where the reason would be for the books to actually get banned. There's nothing in the book that I can think of that suggests Satanism, occult-like behaviour. And actually I don't think there's any references at all there. So this one is quite a far-fetched reason, if there is a reason behind it. And again, there's actually no mention of religion, specifically from real world religions. There's no theologies derived from religious practices that we would see in day-to-day life. Now, if there was this sort of religious ideologies pushed in the book, of course that would potentially be a reason for it to get banned in different countries, but there's nothing of the sort in the Hunger Games. So again, I don't think that's really a reason why it would be banned. But sadly, these are the reasons that are being used for why the books have got banned, because they're convenient, because they are reasons that we've heard for other books and movies getting banned in other countries. They'll use those excuses to add to the pile. But there are people who are speculating that there are other reasons as to why this has been banned. And these aren't on the official list of reasons, but it actually talks about censorship of the book's themes. So, political rebellion and challenging authority. So the entire series follows a country realising they're being treated so poorly that characters like Katniss rise up and rebel against the capital to make things right. They are standing up for what's right, they're challenging authority. And this can be a really important lesson for anyone of any age living anywhere. But the ban of the Hunger Games isn't exclusive to just America. Now, I think it's certain states. I don't have the information as to the states, but I think certain states in America have banned the book. So I've just had a quick look, and a couple examples. Apparently it has been banned in Texas and New Hampshire. But the ban is also in Vietnam because there are similarities between the book's events and real life history. Thailand was another country where the book and the movies became a political statement. 3 symbol salute that Katniss does in the Hunger Games symbolise the rejection of government actions. Given that the book theme is around someone standing up to the government, if you've got a questionable government, they may not want you getting ideas. Just putting that out there. But unfortunately, book banning doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon, and it's not just the Hunger Games that is affected. Charlotte's Web, for instance, Harry Potter in some countries is a banned book. But with the Hunger Games, action taken towards banning a series that highlights rebellion and things like that just highlights it even more. It's a series that discusses political rebellion against a heavily controlled regime, and it's been banned. Could you argue that's a really good book then? It's a really great series. It's got people worried. Banning the Hunger Games, it has issues of censorship. If we put banning to one side for a second though, there have been many moments that have tried to capitalise, as in the Pan Am capital, the Hunger Games franchise. And they've been done in ways that minimise the seriousness of the stories, the underlying factors that maybe aren't so obvious when you're reading, but you get a sense of them as you go through. An example of this is when Katniss sings "Are You Coming to the Hanging Tree?" This was turned into a remixed pop song that was then played on the radio. This really downplayed the severity of the song and the meaning behind it. But that's it for this video, guys. I thought it was really interesting that this book had been banned, and the reasons, the public list of reasons, you can dispute quite easily just sitting there and saying, well, I don't know if this is right, I don't think that's right, I can't remember this theme being in there. Now, some of this is just my opinion, and by all means, please do let me know yours. Let me know why you think it's been banned. Has it been banned where you live? If it hasn't, can you see any of the public reasons in the books that maybe I'm missing as to why it could have been banned? Anyway guys, like the video if you like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers by Christmas. And until next time, you take care.